Can I skip kissing the fish? Yeah. I know it was my idea, but I don't know if I want to kiss this fish. That one's giving me the eye. Hi, I'm Frank Proto. I'm a professional chef and a culinary instructor, and this is how you break down a whole fish. Okay, buddy, we're on camera. Smile. We're talking how to fillet it, how to prepare it to cook it whole, and serving it. This is How to Break Down a Fish 101. Buying a whole fish and breaking it down yourself can be super intimidating, but don't be scared off. With whole fish, it's easier to determine whether it's fresh or not, and it's a bigger bang for your buck. You can roast the fish whole, or you can take the bones and make a stock with it. With a few easy techniques, you'll be able to fillet your fish in no time. When I'm buying whole fish, there's a bunch of things that I'm looking for. First and foremost, when you smell the fish, it should not have a fishy smell. It should be neutral or smell like an ocean breeze. Another determining factor is looking at the eyes. You can see they're super bright and black. They're slightly bulging out, and that's what you want. When the eyes start to get sunken and cloudy, that means the fish is old. When you press on the flesh, does it spring back? If you press on the flesh and it leaves an indent, that means it's getting old. See how I press on the flesh? I'm not leaving any dents. One of the other determining factors is that the scales are on there really tight, that they're not just rubbing off. Lastly, we want to look inside the belly and check for belly burn. Is it discolored? Does it have yellow spots or dark spots? Belly burn means that the guts have been left in too long and the fish is basically breaking down from the inside out. One thing I never do when I buy whole fish is scale and gut them at home. It's way too messy. So I tend to get my fishmonger to take the guts out and to scale my fish for me. This should be offered freely in every fish market. They shouldn't charge you for scaling and gutting your fish. One of the main advantages to filleting is that you're getting a clean piece of fish with no bones in it. It reduces the cook time. Fillets cook extremely fast. It's easier to portion out, or at least figure out how many portions you need. We tend to use fillets for larger fish or meatier fish because they don't fall apart as easily. Before you fillet your fish, make sure that it's cold, because if it gets warm, it gets mushy and it's a lot harder to fillet. There are two types of fish that you're gonna fillet, a round fish and a flat fish. Both of these have very specific ways that you have to fillet them. Here I have a bronzino, which is a round fish. I'm gonna get a paper towel and wipe it down. If it's wet, it's gonna slide around my board. The knife I have here is more of a traditional boning knife that has a lot of flex to it. I'm just gonna make sure that my knife is nice and sharp. One thing I always tell my students is you're not a surgeon. We're not using a scalpel or the tip of the knife. We're using the larger portion of the knife. There's a fin there, you can feel the bone. Get under the fin and cut around the head. So I go all the way to the tip of the head. There's a little piece of meat there, and I'm gonna cut directly down to the backbone. Make sure that the back of my knife is resting on the backbone. I'm gonna just pull my knife down all the way to the tail, and then I'm gonna rest my knife on the backbone so that I have no flesh left here. When I get down to here where the spine is, I'm gonna tilt my knife up, get the tip of the knife in there, just to go up and around the backbone, and then I'm gonna flatten my knife out. Once I get to the belly, I'm gonna take my knife and I'm gonna pull the fillet off, cut through the belly bones. So I'm leaving those belly bones or those ribs on there. I like to always replace my fillet. If I don't have the fillet there, my fish kind of sits at a wonky angle. So I almost always use the first fillet as a prop to hold my fish up. Make sure my knife is clean, run it over my steel again, and then I just go the opposite way. I'm gonna start at the tail and go to the head. Once we get to the spine, make a little incision there, flatten it out, cut off the belly. Put in some water, cover some vegetables, simmer it away. You got a great fish stock. And now I have my two fillets that still need a little bit of cleaning. I want to get off these rib bones here. I'm getting my knife under those bones. I angle it up so that when I cut down, the blade of my knife is cutting along those rib bones. This can go in your stock too. So again, with the other side, last thing I need to do before I skin these fillets, right along the belly or right along the ribs, there are pin bones, which are really small, and these are the bones that people tend to choke on. I have my tweezers. Wherever the head of the fish was, faces me. They usually come out a little easier if you pull towards the head. They're really hard to see, so that's why you have to count on feeling for them. And I pull the pin bones. You want to be careful not to tear the fish up too much with this. And there's about 5 or 6 of them, and I just rub until I don't feel any more bones. Each fish has a different amount of pin bones, so be sure that you get them all out. If you see something like a blood spot like this, you can always just trim it away. Believe it or not, with a lot of fish, the skin is edible, and people tend to kind of shy away from it. A fish like this, the skin is delicious. Taking the skin off this fillet is optional. Today I'm going to show you how to do it. I like to put my fillet on the edge of the board so I can get down low. If I can't get down low, my knuckles get in the way. So I'm making a little tab on the tail side. This will allow me to hold it. If you don't have room for a tab, you can always get a paper towel and hold on to the skin. I'm holding on. My knife is angled down towards the board. I'm gonna wiggle the skin and my knife at the same time, and my skin comes off. You like that move? A little shake and shimmy. And there you have it. That is our round fish filleted and skinned. This is ready for cooking. Now let's move on to how to fillet a flatfish. Here I have a fluke, and the filleting technique for this is completely different than a round fish. The fluke of the flounder starts out swimming like a normal fish, eye on either side. But as it gets older, the eyes migrate to one side, and the light side is what's in the sand. The dark side is the top side. They dig or wiggle themselves into the sand, so they're camouflaged, and it keeps them safe from predators. I start on the white side. These tend to be the smaller fillets, and for beginners, it's a lot easier to see. If you look at the fish, there is a line there, and that line tells you where to cut, believe it or not. So what I like to do is take my knife and run it straight down that line. You'll get some scales on your knife. Just wipe those scales off. The skin on these flatfish tends to be a lot firmer because it's not an oily fish. So they don't scale these because most people are gonna take the skin off. The belly is here and the head is here. Make an incision there by the head, and then I like to make an incision by the belly. If you squish around here, you can feel that the belly stops where the bones end. There is a small part of filleting that I'd use the tip, and that's right now. I'm gonna take the tip of the knife, I'm gonna rest the back of the tip of the knife against the spine and run it down the spine. That just gives me a little space so I can get the flat of my knife in there. So I'm taking my knife, I'm pushing it flat on the bones, and I'm just getting the length of the knife and I'm dragging it towards me. As I drag it towards me, I just roll the fillet back and I got my first fillet. So from the other side, it looks like this. I get my knife, I lay it flat, pushing with a fair amount of pressure so the back side of my knife is resting on those bones, and I have my other fillet. We can now turn it over. So we're looking for that line again. It's a little more faint on this side of the fish, but again, we're not just using the tip, we're using the whole knife. I'm gonna cut around the head, and then I'm gonna cut around the belly. Where the bones end is where the belly starts. This is the point I'm gonna get in there with the tip of the knife, run it along the spine on both sides, just to kind of free it up from the spine. And then I get my knife in there flat against the bones, roll my fillet away, and there's my top fillet. You can see the difference in color between the top and the bottom fillet. The bottom fillet is a little bit whiter. The top fillet is a little grayer, a little more meaty, a little less flaky. I think the textural difference is more than the flavor difference. So now I have all 4 of my fillets. This carcass, as long as the gills and the guts are taken out, you can use it for another stock. For flatfish, you definitely want to take the skin off. It's not tender and it's really not good eating. So get it on the edge of our board, make a little incision, and I'm barely moving my knife. I'm just kind of wiggling and the skin comes off. Skin can go into your stock. The fillet also has these little end pieces that are parts of the fin. You can add them to your stock, or you can just cook them and eat them if you want. Same thing with the rest of my fillets. What I'm gonna do next might be controversial to a lot of chefs. I hate scales. Flatfish almost always has scales on it. Some people say you can just scrape this off. I don't feel that does the job, so I'm gonna take them to the sink. Under very light water pressure, give them a nice rinse, get all those scales off. Right onto a paper towel. Some chefs are gonna hate me for that. They say once the rain jacket or the skin is off, you don't wanna wash your fish. I disagree. I'd much rather lose a little bit of flavor than have scales on my fish because they're disgusting. And that is what you call a strong opinion. All right, these fillets are ready to be cooked. To plate fillets, I'm always gonna put the bone side up. not the skin side up. We made a simple sauce in the pan that we sauteed the fish fillets in with lemon, parsley, and butter. And we're just gonna spoon that over the top. A couple of lemons on the side in case people like it lemony. And there you have it, the fillets are ready to eat. That is a nice piece of fish. Roasting a whole fish is a little bit more forgiving. The skin and bones help trap moisture inside the fish, and you have a more tender, flaky finished product. Fish on the bone tends to be more flavorful. I think that the best fish to cook whole is the nice flaky white flesh fish, red snapper, black bass, striped bass. Here we have a bronzino, which is really good for roasting whole. Let's prep it. I have a pair of kitchen shears. People will call these a scissor, but they're not. Yeah, they are, okay, Frank, they are, okay, I'm sorry. They're a scissor. They're usually a little more sturdy. You can cut bone with this. To start off, you're gonna get it scaled and gutted. And if your fish has the fins on it, I like to take off the back fin with a kitchen shear, any sort of fins that stick out. We can even trim the tail here because these parts tend to burn. I like to put a little extra virgin olive oil on the fish, rub it in on all sides. The olive oil will make it so that our seasonings stick. I'm gonna put a few lemon slices on the inside, close that up. Black pepper on both sides. Generous helping of salt. I like my skin to have salt on it so it almost forms a crust. Maybe just a little bit of salt on the inside. I'm gonna put this in a 350-degree oven for at least 20 minutes. To check if this fish is done, kind of pull on the collarbone. You see how it frees up nice and easy? That means it's cooked. The collarbone should pretty much pull out fairly easily. You could just dig in there like a savage and eat it off the bone, like, you know, pick it up, but that's not the way we want to do it. We want to present it in a really nice way. I have a few tools that I'm going to use to fillet this fish. 2 spoons and a fish spatula. It's a lot more springy than your normal spatula, and it has holes in order to drain things. What I like to do first is get my spoon and make an incision with the spoon, kind of get under that skin along the backbone, right? And basically just lifting off the flesh from the backbone. And I'm just gonna pull away some of those top fin bones and get rid of them. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna free up this fillet and take it away from the fish. Let's try and keep our skin intact. I'm gonna flip this over because that's my top fillet and that's the nice fillet. I don't need these lemons anymore. Next thing I'm gonna do is just pull this skin away. I'm gonna take the tail off and pull the spine of the fish. You see how that spine comes off nice and easy? Get rid of that. Pull away any bones that I see. And then I have these belly bones. I'm gonna get it under with the spoon and try and take those away. I think a knife will just shred it, whereas a spoon will kind of give me a nice gentle pull. One thing about whole fish is there's always gonna be a few bones left. You're never gonna get them all, right? And that's what people who eat whole fish understand. There's a sacrifice for that flavor. Now, my bottom fillet goes on. I'm gonna take my top fillet with the skin still intact, and it's gonna go right on top. You might wanna squeeze some lemon on this, maybe a drizzle of extra virgin olive oil, and you're done. This is how you fillet and plate a whole cooked fish. It's super tender, super juicy. Bronzino is a small fish, so it has really small cheeks, but you can actually get in there and get that cheek meat out. That is super tasty. I'm gonna eat it. I'm not a fan of the eyeballs, but you can eat the eyeballs too. As you can see, there's nothing to be afraid of. With these steps and a little bit of practice, you can break down your whole fish at home. Go cut some fish already. I'm just gonna finish this. You guys clean this up.